Quick message from our sponsor. Imagine if you could make your destination page match your messaging, eliminate leaks and distractions when sending someone from an ad or message, remove friction and make it easy to buy. Dream no more. Checkout Links is a simple but powerful app that lets you quickly create specialized bundles in a mini landing page that syncs directly with your Shopify checkout. Preload the shopping cart to reflect your order in that specialized bundle. You can automatically apply discounts so they don't have to manually type it in. And then you can also track individual link performance and so much more. You can find other creative ways to use them with your paid ads, customer support chats, holiday offers, new product launches, email and SMS campaigns, or even rewarding your VIP customers. Go to checkoutlinks.com/Matt to learn more and install the Shopify app. That's checkoutlinks.com/Matt. Quick shout out from our sponsor, ShareID. Are you trying to boost conversions to your Shopify store? Need to drive more customer loyalty? Get results fast by offering exclusive discounts to consumer communities with ShareID. ShareID helps verify students, teachers, military, first responders, and so much more of these groups. With ShareID, you'll get a verified match in seconds. You can spit out an exclusive discount for customers on the spot. Try speaking directly to a new customer segment with this verifiable identity without adding friction to the shopping experience. Continue to drive incremental revenue in the next 90 days post-purchase with more tailored messaging for your email and SMS campaigns. I personally tested ShareID to see just how easy it was to get set up, and I was pretty much ready to go in under 15 minutes. The onboarding was simple enough for me to follow as a non-technical person. Go to shareid.com/Shopify and start your free trial today. Once again, that's shareid.com/Shopify and start your free trial today. I want to help people that are in the trenches still doing the work each day. They're still at a job, they're still freelancing, they're still consulting. They have a small agency, they have the hands in the pot, and they're actively doing and learning and growing and failing and winning each day still. And they're not just these people that get to, in air quotes, have a show, have a course, have a community. That's their full-time gig, and they just have this big audience over the years, and they've kind of exited the day-to-day. Hello and welcome to E-Commerce Uncovered. I'm your host, Matt Lady. Each and every week, I get to talk with and learn from enthusiastic guests, freelancers, agency folks, in-house marketers, and founders, all in an effort to help you bootstrap your D2C brand profitably. We got 2 episodes a week, which will have you staying up to date on the ever-changing industry and learning fundamental concepts and tactics to apply to your brand. Enjoy the show. What is going on? It is your host, Matt Lady. I'm doing a solo episode today for this episode of E-Commerce Uncovered. My guest and I had a little scheduling mishap. .cl instead of .co for the email address, so the calendar invite never got to him. So I was trying to find a last-minute guest, and then I figured I would just kind of hop on here and just get after it and kind of talk about what I've been up to, how things have been going, things that have been on my mind. And so, so this is the first solo episode of E-Commerce Uncovered. Usually I have guests on 2 times a week, tactical and practical information, mostly for bootstrap founders. So HighKeyGeek, a little background and context. HighKeyGeek started out as, you can see my shirt if you're watching the video, as Civitas, which was a graphic t-shirt brand I had started as a side project 2 years ago, back in 2020. I found and really got involved in D2C Twitter in 2019, and it was life-changing, to say the least. It truly was amazing to meet other like-minded people that weren't e-commerce just wasn't as popular or as big in where I was living, up in Sacramento and Davis at the time, up in Northern California. So being able to make connections, learn from people way ahead of me, learn from people with me, was just great. It was amazing. And I started freelancing and consulting that way. I got a bunch of leads, referrals, people sending me stuff, me like working with mentors in a way. So Civitas, the graphic t-shirt brand, was my way of like going away from client side and trying to launch my own branded thing. And I just had a lot going on and tons of clients and tons of life moves and changes. And it was, that was the first year the pandemic. And so some stuff happened. My dog was super sick, had a ton of emergency surgeries. It was pretty dang expensive. I've never had a dog before. So obviously the dog came first, and I just wound down the project because I just had to focus on more immediate cash flow generating things like taking care of my clients at the time. So, but the thing that the emphasis, the premise, the start of Civitas, like, it hasn't changed. It still is always stuck in the back of my mind of, man, this is really cool. I like doing this. People seem to like it. I had no business like designing the t-shirts, so I had come up with the ideas and the concepts and the jokes and the puns and the how to go about it kind of way. But then I worked with the designer and to bring it to life. So, but that concept never like really left, even though I closed down the brand. So over the last 2 years, I've been really trying to just like, it's always in the back of my mind. Even when I was, before I came to Stumptown and started as head of growth, I'm like, man, there was something there. And it sucks that I didn't get to like go into it and let it see how it plays out. About 2 years later now, here I am. And I'm going to just about ready to relaunch it via print on demand versus bulk buying tons of t-shirts, whilst in trying to build it that way whilst doing my job. I'd rather just keep it as a fun, creative side hustle, make the podcasts. So there's currently e-commerce uncovered 2 times a week. There's brand builders, it's just now 2 times a week. 1 episode with Tom Brown and myself, and then Richie Machiko and myself. And then we had conversational commerce. Whenever Stephanie is ready, we'll come back with that show. Deb Mukherjee is coming out with a retention-based show. And I even have ideas for a new show or a 3rd episode for e-commerce uncovered. So all this to be said, I'd like using podcasting and recorded conversations to keep meeting people, to keep learning, to get different perspectives, and to scale my time. So over the years, there's a lot of, I wish I had this sort of information. I wish I had met this person or this connection or knew about this sooner. And I'm hoping that HighKeyGeek, what the rebrand from Civitas, is going to be this free resource, this free library, e-commerce 100, e-commerce 101, 201 over the years of just helping more and more people if they want to start a brand and grow it profitably. So I just want to try to be that resource that I wish I had. I know there's tons of really good shows out there. I've listened to them. And so that helped me a lot in the beginning. But this is a personal thing of always liking. I've run a few shows in the past, but this is finally an industry, a premise, and now a repeatable process I've had set up with some help with an editor, and gotten the scheduling thing down and got the releases, got YouTube set up, got clips going and all that sort of stuff. So slowly has become more of this media project, this media brand. So I can't wait to see how it shakes out and continues to grow and develop. Now that I've head of growth at Stumptown, I work that job, give it my full-time effort, 45 hours a week throughout the 7-day week. Some days it's hard for me to focus and dial in with ADHD and other stuff going on. But luckily, my boss kind of understands all that going on and is cool. He's like, you're doing great. Just work when you can and let us know how we can support. So I'm super thankful for that. And so that way, these projects, especially HighKeyGeek and the shows, can grow over time organically, and there's no rush and stress and pressure to like make it happen all at once. So getting to the next phase of HighKeyGeek is not just me, a place for me to yell into a microphone. It is also helping solve the problem, or a couple problems, of people not wanting to become creators or try being a creator because it's a lot of effort and there's a huge learning curve that's like a lot of trying to figure things out. And I've been through this process multiple times now with many shows, not just for the ones that are currently live. So I finally gotten the process, that some part-time team members in place to help with this. So I want to keep, like I have with Stephanie and with Deb, I want to keep creating like this like network essentially, where people can, hey, I have a show idea, I have a newsletter idea, it's in e-commerce, it's this niche, like here's what I think, can you help me get it up and running and manage it along the way? Because I want to help people that are in the trenches, still doing the work each day. They're still at a job, they're still freelancing, they're still consulting, they have a small agency, they have the hands in the pot, and they're actively doing and learning and growing and failing and winning each day still. And they're not just these people that get to, in air quotes, have a show, have a course, have a community. That's their full-time gig, and they just have this big audience over the years, and they've kind of exited in the day-to-day. There's nothing wrong with those people. I'm sure I will be a hypocrite and be like that, or be more like that to some effect in the future, right? But as of right now, I'm trying to help people like me, or people like me 2 years ago, that HighKeyGeek will have the built-in, the editing, the publishing, the distribution. We'll help get sponsors, and we'll split all this. We'll have a share, so that even if you're only making a couple bucks, $100 early on, you're still making something without having to invest in an editor, a designer, and doing this all yourself, or the time it takes to do it all yourself, or you don't have the skills, or you don't have the money, or you're not in the position to do that. So that way we'll have multiple ongoing media projects, YouTube, podcasts, newsletters. We'll eventually get into blogging and SEO, but that way then the graphic tees come back into play. So there's additional multiple monetization pathways. There's the print on demand merch at first. It's pure profit. There's no cost for me up front on that. There are sponsors for each show. I've recently started a newsletter, a weekly newsletter, kind of finally. HighKeyCommerce. It's a way for me to round up all the posts and activity and threads and stuff that I think are valuable and are really cool, and who I'm still learning from, and I think are experts and not con artists, or not do it like they're not out of the game, they're still in the game. I'll share stuff from them. I'll recap my podcast episodes from the last week, little snippets, make sure if you missed it, here it is again, that sort of thing. And then that newsletter will evolve maybe over time. I'll share more stuff behind the scenes at Stumptown if I can. I share a lot on Brand Builders, the other show, on that front. But more like if you like written, I can break down and talk about specific things versus kind of just rambles and rants with Tom about different stuff. So long form written content, that would be like a longer newsletter probably, or like Ecom 100, e-commerce 101, this like more entry level stuff, and not thread based, or not this free giveaway, retweet and follow me so I can DM it to you. Like, I just want to put it out there. I don't plan on selling a course anytime soon, wherever. If you want me to work with you, you ask me a question and I'll answer it in a podcast or a newsletter. I try to respond and help as many people as possible through DMs, but most advice is just there's way not enough context and information input to me to give you the proper output. There's just no way. It'd be silly to be like, oh yeah, this is the answer, and I can just respond in 12 seconds, and you'll just change your business dramatically. I think that's a little. That's kind of the shortcut. That's sort of far fetched to think like that. That's the easy way. That's cutting corners. Oh, just quick! I just need this one answer, and then I'll be all good. I've learned over the years that asking for advice, especially when it's free, can sometimes lead to people not taking action on it, not following through, not doing it correctly or in a timely manner. So shoot me a question if you want, and give me as much info and context as you want. I'll do an episode. I'll do a newsletter about it. I'm happy to help that way. And that way everyone, like the collective everyone, more people can see it instead of just one-to-one, right? Since it's free info and free advice. It's my time. That way more people can benefit from it and see like, oh, I'm in a similar situation to that brand. I'm also thinking about how to expand from Facebook ads to other channels, or how to think about launching a new product, whatever it may be. That way more people can get that free information. So, or you're paying me for consulting, you're hiring me as your full-time person, whatever it is. That's, I'm probably not going to do a course. That's just not my thing. I've been burned by way too many courses and promises and overpaid for all that stuff. So I'm doing my best to provide free information and perspective and access to resources. So there's the media, there's the merch, and then the consulting. And so there's multiple ways of sponsorships, of the apparel, the consulting, that will help monetize all of this and help grow it over time. And it's all like bonus and paying for costs and all this stuff right now. It doesn't have to be this big thing immediately, and it isn't going to be immediately. That's okay. That's fine. I'm finally relearning and reminding myself about how long some of this stuff really takes. You always learn, you always look at these big names and these success stories, and oh, they just blew up, they went viral, and that's like the 1 out of 100 at best. Most people, and even for them, most of the time it looks like an overnight success, but most of the time it's years and years of learning the skill, other experiences, and then it just takes off all of a sudden. So I know I'm relearning to lower and reset my expectations and just try to play a longer game. This is finally an industry and a topic, the business of growing a brand, that I can see myself doing for more than a year at a time or 2 years at a time. I'm relatively young, I think. So I was kind of exploring and testing and tasting the first 5-6 years of my career. And so I've been in e-commerce now for 3 years, going on 4. 100% like e-commerce. I dabbled in it before then, but now I'm like in it to win it. And I think I can see myself doing this in different roles. Like I said, consulting, media, the job, running my own brands. I can see myself doing this for a long time now. And it's really neat, and it's kind of comforting. And of course I want to go fast. Of course I want to work hard and do all this stuff. But I think I stress myself out so much to try to make things work right away, because I, quote, know what to do and how to do it. It just will take time anyway. So here's to trying to play longer games, being patient, and just taking it one day at a time. So that's a little bit more about HighKeyGeek and the media and the plans for that, the other creators, how to scale the content. And yeah, it's just like give me my little playground and sandbox. The site's on Shopify again, like Civitas was, and going to be able to play around with different apps, different tactics, different strategies, maybe a membership potentially, where it's like, oh, $5-10 a month, you get all this stuff and discounts on the merch, you get early episode releases, you get a private community, you get something, right? So I don't know what that looks like exactly yet. I've thought about it a bunch, but I'm not rolling it out, so I don't need to have it finalized. So just a bunch of different things I'm thinking about and have plans for, and it's mine, and I don't plan on selling it. I think a lot of it is me, and that's okay, and that's good. And so the other shows, if creators want to leave and take it with them and move on, that's cool. It's their show. We're just helping it run through our back end, my process, my ideas, all that sort of stuff. So I'm not going to lock anyone in or make them buy me out. Just like, I'm just a guy. Like, I'm not trying to be this media mogul. Long term, anyway, in the short term. In the long term, if you're talking about 10 years from now, this is 2032, if I keep at it, and it seems like I will at this point. If I think about 10 years ago, where I was, my first year in college, oof. So life can change a lot in 10 years. But I think those are more of your formative years, and you're still learning and you're still younger. Not like that I'm old and wise and have it all figured out now. But 28 to 38 will be a little different than 18 to 28, I believe. So if I keep at it, I truly believe I could carve out this little niche media business of being the ESPN for e-commerce, and then slowly expanding over time to SaaS, to services, to other kind of online business opportunities. So that's the long-term dream and goal. Make it less guru-y, less courses, less private. It's all public. It's like edutainment. It's infotainment. There's community building. There's a sense of this is how to keep myself learning. And because I don't, like I mentioned, I don't learn super well from courses or sitting down like in school and just learning from a lecture. I kind of have to learn from someone and then do it and apply it and see how it works for me in my brain. I can't necessarily just be like, oh yeah, I took the course, got it, cool. Or sit there for 3 hours and go through the slides, or do this cohort-based course where there's 2 classes a week and all this stuff. So school would never really, I did it. I did fine in school, but it's never really my thing. Never was my favorite thing, besides a couple classes here and there. So that's kind of like the 10-year plan, is ESPN for e-commerce. We got the media, got the merch, got to get the meme machine going. Triple Whale does a great job of this, and you see the other accounts on Twitter trying to copy or use that, and kind of, oh, they blew up to like 10K plus followers seemingly overnight, and it's not overnight. Tommy Clark, the head of social over there, is an absolute G, and he's so young and amazing. I can't wait to see where he's at in 5 years, 10 years. But he's been working with them almost for a year now, I believe, or half a year. Time is wild during the pandy. So media, merch, and memes is the basis, and so you'll be able to sponsor the shows. You'll sponsor newsletters. You could buy out the store. Or like, hey, Triple Whale's offering all HighKeyGeek store visitors 20% off today for free. You just buy whatever you want, and they'll cover that 20%, or they'll cover the costs of in general. Like there's different creative ideas. I did that with Civitas 2 years ago with Gorgeous. They they're like, hey, we bought these 30 t-shirts, like go claim your free one. And I got a bunch of like really cool like feedback and responses and replies from those people, and got a lot of UGC and reviews and positive hype and buzz around it. So just trying to think of ways like that versus me kind of running paid ads. A quick reminder from our sponsor, ShareID. Find your next lifetime customers by providing verified discount codes based on occupation or life stage. Speak directly to veterans, students, teachers, first responders, and continue to tailor your messaging to them in the future with post-purchase emails and text messages. Make them feel seen with your brand by using ShareID to seamlessly verify their email in seconds during the purchase process. Go to shareid.com/Shopify and start your free trial today. A quick reminder from our sponsor. Checkout Links allows you to create simple and effective short links that go straight to your checkout for your social media pages, paid ads, customer support tickets, direct messages, holiday-specific offers, brand new product launches, or even adding a QR code to your packaging or insert with a checkout link for easy reordering in just seconds. Once again, go to checkoutlinks.com to learn more, install that Shopify app. That's checkoutlinks.com/Matt. So just trying to think of creative ways. Like, yeah, I started with paid ads, but especially if I go the print on demand route, my margins are just inherently smaller or like not as high. My gross margins, it's just more free cash flow. So I'd rather do that and have partnerships or sponsorships or real connections like that. Might do a little paid ads here and there, but again, this is the long-term play. I foresee it being my full-time thing. I like having different projects to turn to, so I don't just get burnt out doing the same thing over and over every single day. I really like, it's my first time transitioning a little bit here, going to talk about Stumptown. This is my first time in-house since I was like an intern 8 years ago or 9 years ago or something, during internship, middle of college. So I had 4 years at 2 different agencies and always had 3, 5, 7, 10, 12, depending on the scope and size clients. And I was always just a media buyer, was project manager, client relationships, helped launch websites, design projects, managed interns, so a bunch of stuff. So, and then internal projects, like managing the internship program. When I was an intern, I pitched them an official program, and then they turned around and said, hey, Matt, run this for us. I'm like, what? I'm still in college. So that was neat. And then trying to take over like the social media and consistent posting and brand building and stuff like that. And then I was also dubbed the social/cultural czar at one of the agencies. So I had to do like event planning and social hours and happy hours and events and Kings games, bowling, different stuff. So I always had a ton of stuff going on and helping with new business, like sales, calls, proposals, planning, estimates, pricing. And then, you have to track all of your hours at agency. At least the couple that I've been at had to do that. It makes sense, just to see where people are spending their time across projects and see which clients are profitable or not, because you have the estimate in the beginning. You need to sort of track against it to see if it makes sense. So there's always a bunch of stuff to do. And it was like, I don't know, I did really well. I thrived in it. I was high performing. I got raises and promotions and stuff pretty frequently. But the actual work and the environments and culture wasn't always the best. And, it's my first job out of college, second job out of college, for 4 years. And then I was like, cool, well, I'm going to go do my own thing and be a freelancer, be a consultant. And wow, that was really neat too. I felt like a pretty huge leg up, being able to have that agency experience and manage clients and manage expectations, have project management, kind of understood the sales and marketing and client fulfillment, client retention, all that sort of stuff versus, oh, I'm an expert at this skill after 10 years in-house and then I'm going freelance consulting, right? I was decent at what I was doing and I dove into e-commerce because then you could better see like your results, your money in, money out, that sort of stuff versus some of the clients and projects and big political stuff or these higher education clients. Like it didn't matter. And like these people like didn't really care or they cared about the wrong things. But if you're listening to this and you work with brands or you're a brand founder yourself, you know how much every like dollar in dollar out matters, especially if you're just starting, you're bootstrapped. It all matters, and I like that. It's a little more stressful at times for sure. I had my fair share of issues and challenges with certain clients over the years. I'm not freelancing, consulting, kind of just, oh, our product and brand is perfect. Go media buy and hack and slash and change these account structure, do these different stuff, and that's gonna make the business. And at the time, I didn't ever get it. I was like, this is not like, okay, I'll try, I'll do my best, but that's not it. That's only one piece of the puzzle, and for some brands, it's a pretty big piece. It can be a pretty big lever to pull. But if your brand and your product and your website and your email and all these other pieces of the puzzle were as good as you say they are, then you wouldn't have to rely on me that much day to day to save your brand and save your business. So it got stressful. It was a lot. I had freelanced and consulted for 2 years solo, essentially. And then the last year, that third year on my own, I kind of tried to start to make an agency. And I was splitting my time and attention in so many different ways. I didn't really want to do it at the beginning. Like I thought it was cool and it would be worth it, and it makes sense because like, cool, I know what to do, and these other guys, they know what to do. They know their own parts, so we just have our own piece of the puzzle, and then pitter patter, let's get at it. Like just easy peasy, and that's good. But clearly, that's not how it goes. And building a team and certain processes, and it's a lot. And especially if I didn't want to do it fully, I was 100% all in the first place. I just thought that was the next natural progression, the next step in that process. So yeah, it's yeah, but that happened, and then I was like, cool. And then a lot of health and mental health and life things happened. I was at inpatient facility voluntarily for almost 10 days earlier this year, 6 weeks in an outpatient program, and then 2 or 3, 4 months of like battling insurance and trying to get appointments and updated diagnosis and medication and therapy. And our medical system's a mess. That's not a surprise. It's wild. So after all that, I was kind of like, man, it's been like 7 years essentially of working for clients and doing all this stuff. I've learned a lot. I feel like I have way more than 7 years of experience because I got to see the inside of many more brands and businesses and clients in those 7 years. I've probably worked on 100, 200 plus things over the years in that short amount of time. So definitely can't go as deep. But you're still expected to go relatively deep in certain areas, right? So I'm like, cool. Like, let's be everything that happened in life. And I had mentioned the agency was like where my heart was at. That's where my mind was. I was like, this logically makes sense to scale up and make more money and to grow. You build a team and you do this. But in my heart, in my gut, I was like, I'm not sure. So I gave it a go, tried it for a year. Great, good guys I was working with, and it just didn't work out. That's okay. So I was like, okay, what do I want to do next? And I kind of landed on, I have all this like pretty general knowledge, experience, and interest in a lot of different areas. What about working for a single brand? Let's go in-house, forget the identity crisis of being an entrepreneur and working for myself and having freedom and all this crap that people 100% say with certainty and confidence, and that's the absolute truth, and that everyone should do that. And it's always funny because then how do you hire people for your team and your business if you think working a 9 to 5 is shit, and then you go around, you say that, you turn around and go ahead and hire people to work for you 9 to 5. It doesn't really, the math doesn't math there, you know? So I was like, cool, let's try in-house. Let's look around. Let's like the meme that's going around. I don't know when this will get posted, but it's like, let's fuck around and find out, right? So I had seen a job posting pretty early on in my search, and it was like with this brand that was relatively small, about low 7 figures. I'm like, okay, they're hiring ahead of growth. That salary range is very high. And then I'm like, oh, okay, they raised and they want to be big and they want to do this and that. And it's really interesting. And it's like category creation almost. It's not just it's a pretty unique product. It is, who knows if it'll get to the scale that they want and think, but it is very interesting. And I think it fits into that framework or that model of incorporating yourself into the consumer, the everyday person's routine. I don't have a ton of listeners, and it's not like that much of a secret, but I'll just say it's like in the bathroom and like self-care kind of area. So super interested in it. I had tons of ideas. I basically started doing the job of head of growth before I even technically interviewed and talked to the founder. I had a couple connections with the founder. I asked, shout out to Kim from Get Repeat. I was like, hey, it's been a minute since we talked, but do you know this guy? Can you intro me? And she's like, yeah, I got you. I actually know him. I'm like, cool. So then I bypassed like 200, 300 LinkedIn applicants and just got to talk to this guy directly. I sent over notes. I sent over Loom videos, went through the website, went through all my brainstorming and prep and planning. Finally got to talk to him, did more of an audit, and I was like, man, there's just so much opportunity here. They have a great product. There's some amount of repeat purchase ability and consumability. And that's just one product. And they've iterated on it. So there's a V2, so it's better. And then there's tons of opportunity for SKU expansion. And the brand is great. It's differentiated enough. And the product is differentiated, most importantly. The brand is good. So I was super hype. I was like all in focus, like hyper focus on this. I'm like, this is my job. Like, this is it. This is great. But they ended up kind of like slowing down and communicating with me, kind of not ghosted, but just like went missing for a little while. And I was like, man, okay, well, I could do that for a brand just like in my own time. Like, let's see what else is out there, because now I did a lot of work, a lot of research and planning and prep and ideas, and it really helped me figure out like the role I wanted or was looking for if it was out there. I never figured out how to be a fractional head of growth or this consultant, a generalist consultant. I never quite figured out how to package that up quite yet at this time. This was like literally a month or two ago. So still haven't figured it out. So I was like, let's just go in-house and like for 2 or 3 years and just kind of commit to that. If it's a good environment and it keeps going well, right? If I'm miserable, then I won't. But I can tell you now, I'm not miserable. This job is the most hype I've been about a job for so long. So I was literally on the toilet And I was like, man, let me just throw a quick thread together for Twitter. Within 2 hours, I gotten 6 leads, inquiries, and 24 hours, I got like 11. And this is not even a viral thread. Like, I got pretty decent engagement, like 70 likes, and like 11 or 12 or 15 retweets or something. And it's really like, fuck, like I don't ask for much from like the community and followers and stuff. So I think it's like I try to give as much as I can and try to connect people and try to help others freely. And I'm like, cool, like let me cash in some chips and like put this together. And it definitely paid off. Some pretty cool people and some pretty with much bigger followings and clout than me, like retweeted me and vouched for me. So I think that's how that worked out. So I got an email, and hey, we're looking for one of the 11 leads. Kind of stuck out to me afterwards. Initially, it didn't seem that exciting, just to be honest. I was like, "Are we sure? Like, do I?" You'll understand in a second. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be an online mattress salesman. He's like, hey, like I saw your tweet, I saw your thread. What you described is almost exactly what we would have put in a job description. We bought this brand last year. It's low 7 figures. Here's the site. We've only done basic Facebook and Google ads. We've never sent an email. We've never done any of these other channels. And we've just been like doing what we can with marketing agencies. So I'm like, okay, that role sounds good, but the like product is like, quote, just mattresses. I'm like, that's kind of boring. But then I'm like, dude, everyone who has a home or apartment needs a mattress, right? So obviously it's super competitive industry, but I saw the numbers, saw the analytics, saw the ad accounts, and I just like, okay, there's so much damage I could do here. Like, I know exactly what levers to pull. I like big like initiatives or big changes. I know what buttons to push, like how to optimize and how to adjust those big levers. So the opportunity was great, and it was like almost being an intrapreneur is what some people call it. It's like I have most of the benefits of being an entrepreneur with most of the benefits of being an employee and having a salary and getting paid the same amount every 2 weeks and not chasing down invoices and having more health insurance paid for. Self-employed health insurance is like a lot. Like, so that's cool. 401k, there's performance bonuses and then long-term incentives. So essentially like number one employee for the brand on the D2C marketing side. They've been in retail for literally like 10 to 12 years. And the last 3 or 4 years, they've gone D2C and been really focused in like Oregon and Washington, because that's where they started, Portland, Oregon. So this mattress brand, Stumptown Mattress, it's like very mediocre, nothing to write home about. WooCommerce WordPress site. The Facebook ads are like what would work like 6-7 years ago, and they're still working. Like, it's insane. The Google ads I'm a novice at Google ads, but I know that there should not be non-brand keywords in the brand campaign, and you should actually have 2 separate things for that. And so there's just a lot of inefficiencies already what we're doing. So I'm like, oh man, wait, like I can move to Shopify and lead that rebuild. I can fire the current agency and hire my own list of what I call the Twitter Avengers over time. So I got someone for Google Ads, freelancer for half the cost of that agency who is mismanaging our money and like not having a full understanding of our numbers and growth targets and any of that really either. I can take over Facebook. I can manage website, rebuild, which I did 15, 20 times in the past life. I can hire who I want once we have like budget and money I can pick what levers to pull when to start pulling them, how hard to pull them. I can focus on the day to day and high level, and it's just one brand day in and day out. And so the more and more I talk to other opportunities, other leads, other gigs from that initial tweet, that initial thread, it's just like there's some pretty cool ones, and I was like, man, this is great, or like that's much bigger, or I just felt like a lot of them I'd end up being like a cog in the machine. And I know myself, I don't do well as a small or even big cog in a big machine. At Subtown, since I'm like the first D2C kind of employee, they obviously have a couple employees on the retail side, product side. They've been doing that for years. I can I can help create the cogs and create the system and manage all the pieces of the puzzle. And so I just got that immediate trust and respect from Peter, from the firm that bought the brand last year. And I really appreciated that. I've always felt like I had something to prove. And I think maybe just finally I have enough skill and experience. And I think most importantly, confidence in that skill and experience to be able to pull these levers and push these buttons in the right order, the right time, and then execute against it too. So it's been really amazing. It's been literally like 2.5 weeks, and I've already done a bunch of stuff. And that's usually for a new job. That's probably not the way to go about it. You don't want to just come in and make a bunch of change, a bunch of ruckus. But when you're the first employee, I think that's kind of, and you're being hired to do that, this head of growth role. And I think it'll turn into beyond just growth. I'm really touching all parts of the brand and business. So it's great. There's no micromanagement. There's no insane expectations. They're not trying to 10x the brand in a couple of years and then flip it. They hey, this product and brand has been great. It's been untapped and there's a lot of potential. So let's take it from just Oregon and Washington. Let's bring it across the country. Let's keep that small town Pacific Northwest feel, the high quality product, the high quality customer service and support, and let's expand. And so I got lucky. They got lucky. I think it's both a win-win situation for each of us. So I get to kind of use all these tools and all this stuff over the years I've kind of gathered and developed, and just focus on that brand day in and day out. And I think about it even when I'm not in front of the computer, and not in a bad way. It's like, oh man, what could I do? This is really cool. I want to do this for TikTok. I want to do this in owned media play, long-term thinking. Instead of with clients, as much as I wanted to think long-term, a lot of them are so short-sighted and, why is performance down the last 2 days? To be super blunt, there's almost nothing I can control about performance being down in the last 2 days. That's just called business. And maybe people just weren't on their phones as much that day. And so CPMs went up because there was less people consuming content, or there was, a world war happening. There's the pandemic. There's all these insane political events or news stories. I can't control any of that. I can't control if Shopify goes down. I can't control a lot of that stuff. So I think a lot of, especially smaller, which I worked with a lot of 6-figure, 7-figure brand owners. I worked with some 8-figure brands for sure, but the majority of my time was spent on the lower end, and they didn't know what they didn't know. And as much as I tried to take ownership and accountability and responsibility for, this is my fault, here's what we can do, here's how to fix it, so much of it's just outside of the ad account. It's the website, it's the landing pages, it's the customer service, it's the customer experience, it's the shipping, it's the email, it's It's your P&L. Like, there's so many factors, man. And this job lets me, have a hand in all of those factors, or be able to manipulate and adjust and have a say, or be able to know more about it, versus you're the ads guy, do the Facebook ads. So I'm really stoked to be an online mattress salesman, coming back from like 20 minutes ago when I said like I wasn't sure. It's great. I'm going to go up and meet the team in person coming up, depending on when this is released. Might have happened. During my thread announcement, fun little quick note, during my thread announcement of signing a job offer, the offer letter and next steps and all this stuff, my 5th tweet in that thread, I just casually dropped the link to the brand, stumptownmattress.com. And 5th tweet in the thread, not the first one, not the second, not the third, not the 4th, the 5th one, I just casually mentioned it and linked to it. The traffic doubled. The website traffic doubled that day. So I'm like, okay, like, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't try to do that. It was very much noticed, acknowledged, and I kind of tanked the conversion rate for that day. But just goes to show you that you can, depending on the product and industry and all this stuff. And I don't have experience with this high of AOV and with mattresses. I have experience with slightly lower, like $500 AOV. Ours is like north of that. So it was just crazy to see, wow, my 5th tweet in this thread doubled the traffic for the day, like on accident. So I might become, like, I'm kind of joking, kind of not. I'm gonna get a Stumptown mattress and then try to become like the first influencer. Not really influencer, but be the first essentially affiliate for the brand. They've other notes on the brand. I've talked about this on the other show, but in case you don't listen to Brand Builders, never run an ad. Never run a sale or discount. They've never sent an email, and they've never done a landing page. And their desktop conversion rate is 4 times the mobile version. So there's a lot of levers to pull. And I think, because I get a couple 100,000 like tweet impressions, and tens of thousands profile visits on Twitter, and like, believe me when I say I'm not trying to say that as a flex, like, at all. It blows my mind that I can just show up as me and talk to people on my phone or on the computer across the world and like build something for myself like that. But I'm not trying to be an influencer. That's not my goal. I'm not like necessarily chasing clout. I just enjoy this stuff. So if I can get a couple more sales a month, as of right now, that's pretty good. That's pretty decent. And if that's not from paid traffic and it's from organic, and we offer 10% off, like, that's cheaper than the CPA in some cases, right? And it's not a direct, we're not advertising the sale on the site or in the ads. It's just, oh, if you know Matt, if you know me, you see my thing, and I'm literally getting a mattress and going to test it out and sleep on it. Literally sleep on it, and then might become the affiliate. So I'm really pumped. I'm really pumped to be an online mattress salesman. Didn't know that. Didn't have that in my 5 or 10 year plan. So sometimes I'm continuing to learn, to let go a little bit, be in the right direction, and just keep walking forward, keep taking steps, keep being kind, keep meeting people, keep helping others, and it'll all work out eventually. And I'd be lying if I said that I would have expected that at the beginning of this year. The first quarter to half of the year was absolutely insane and brutal, and probably at this time, the lowest point in my life with so much going on. And just within one calendar year, it's all turned around and then some. So I'm absolutely incredibly grateful and feel lucky and feel like, man, I kind of made it this way. I kind of got to this point, and I had plenty of support from friends and family and online people from Twitter, for example. But I hung in there and did this, and I'm gonna enjoy the crap out of it. I'm gonna sling some mattresses. I'm gonna keep podcasting, and I'm just it blows my mind that anyone listens to this stuff that I ramble into this microphone about. So really appreciate you listening. This is my first solo rant ramble episode, just to catch you up on all things HighKeyGeek, where things are headed, where my head's at, a little bit of backstory about me, and then where I'm looking to head. And so keep following along. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please leave a review if you haven't yet. Those, like, everyone says it, all the hosts say that because it actually matters. It actually helps you show up more when people search your show or the keywords related to your show, or helps you kind of rank up in the like charts and stuff. So just me and like one part-time editor and one part-time clip person. So would really appreciate your support. Let me know what you think about this solo episode. If you have any questions, if anything resonated with you, if you're looking for a career change or you're going through shit, like, my DMs are always open. I try to respond to every single person that ends up in my primary inbox, and I check the primary DM inbox. I check the other folder a bunch, but it's usually a lot of spam in between. So shoot me a message or reply when this comes out to the tweet that goes out. And yeah, the next episode should be back with a guest, back on track. I might do this every once in a while if it's well received, and I like doing it. I think it may be a little shorter next time, but first one, just testing it out. So that's it. That's all. Thanks so much for listening. Take care. Have a good one. Catch you next time. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. I love being able to do this, continue to learn and meet people in this industry. Every rating, review, and episode you share with a friend means so much to me, as I'm bootstrapping this show as part of my media brand, HighKeyGeek. If you haven't checked out my other show, Brand Builders, you should. It's with myself and Tom Brown and Richie Machiko. 2 times a week, we talk in a much more casual setting, and we think out loud, we brainstorm, and we share our lessons as we continue to operate and run businesses in the D2C space today. We didn't exit, we didn't just consult and advise now, and we're in the trenches every day still. So we're learning in real time and sharing it with you as we go. That's Brand Builders on HighKeyGeek YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever else you find your podcasts. Catch you next time.